On today's Pub Talk, we have NBA Finals Game 6. The Raptors have won the NBA Finals. We'll also talk about Anthony Davis being traded to the Lakers and the Blues winning 4-0 over the Bruins in Game 7 to take home the trophy. We're also going to talk NFL season previews. Each division, one team from each division that we will feel that will win their division. We're also going to have some entertainment with Godzilla vs. King Kong and 6 beers to round out the show. Of course, Pub Talk is brought to you by Route 11 Chips. With their secret recipe and superior ingredients, you have to try a bag. Check out your local Food Lion and Giant and Martin's grocery stores and grab a bag today. All right, let's get this thing started. Alrighty, people, welcome back to episode number 2 of Pub Talk. My name is CJ, as always, hosted by the coach as well next to me. We also have some special guests here today. To the right of me, my good brother Pat is here today, and he is going to be helping us along with this show here for episode number 2. How we doing today, Pat?
Can't complain. I'm happy to be here.
Good. You sound perfect. And to the left of me, my good buddy from high school and longtime friend still, Biff. Biff, how we doing today?
What kind of fucking name is Biff anyway? I always wanted to know.
You know,
where the fuck
CJ,
does
it's good to
Biff
be
come
here,
from?
fair to Midland, living life.
Can't complain about that. Of course, we all want to talk about sports. Pat, you were a high school quarterback, so you know your fair share of football. Coach, you were a coach. That's kind of why your name is the coach. And Biff, well, you're Biff. Okay, let's go ahead and get this started. Anyway, let's get into some segments, of course. Now, the big sports for professional sports are done. The NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs are now completely over. We're going to start with the NBA. The Raptors have won Game 6 over the Golden State Warriors, 114-110 in Game 6. In the last game in the Oracle, bye-bye to the Oracle. What a piece of shit it was, apparently, to the players and to the organization lately, because now they have this brand new stadium, of course. And now the Raptors have won an NBA championship finally for their organization. And Kawhi gets his second ring now. Of course, his first coming back in 2014 to the Spurs. So let's go ahead and talk about this game first real quick. This game was very exciting. The Raptors had so much resiliency through this game. At one point, you were like, man, Klay Thompson is on fire right now. He had 30 points up until the fourth quarter. And then, bam, it happened right in front of our very eyes. Klay Thompson goes up for a basket, and he comes down hard on his left leg. And he's limping, and he's in pain, and he goes back to the locker room. And he's a man, and he comes back out, and he shoots 2 free throws. But it looks like he had to go off the court again because he went back to the training room, and reports came out that he was not going to return to the game, and it was a torn ACL. I think that that's very sad because look at what the injuries have done to the Warriors, especially in the playoffs. But, man, Klay was something special that game because he was draining threes, of course. He's part of the Splash Bros. But Klay Thompson, it's very sad to see him go down. And does Klay win them that game if he stays in the game still? I really think that they do win.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. I mean, he's definitely a huge player for you. Why would he not have an impact? He was on fire.
Yeah, but I still see some resiliency from the Raptors, though, because they kept fighting back.
Yeah, Lowry in the first half, it was tremendous. I mean, you look at what did he score in the first quarter? He had, 11
He
points?
He had 4 3-pointers in the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it was like he had 11 points within 4 minutes of the first quarter. So that the Raptors started out strong.
The real key was Van Fleet, though, of course, because he only had 14 points all series against Philly, the 76ers, and the Raptors barely squeaked out a series victory over them on a 2-point shot by Kawhi Leonard in the hardest part possible spot that you could shoot it from.
Like
and
he
a
was
lucky
playing
bounce.
horse. He's like, here's your E right in the game, right in your fucking eye.
Exactly.
But just going along like with what you said with Van Fleet is it shows that the Raptors' resiliency. Sometimes you don't start series as hot. I mean, Kyle Lowry in the first game didn't even score a freaking point.
Yeah,
and they still went on to beat the Magic 4-1. Same if Van Fleet wasn't hot against who they play in
the Bucks.
Bucks.
If he wasn't hot against them, because in Game 6 he was the difference maker.
Yeah, the Bucks
in that
just
game.
kind of fell off the map, though. I mean, they were probably the favorites coming out of the East, and then just collapsed. I mean, it was bad.
But in the NBA, everybody talks about depth. Like, you can have your superstars, you can have your key role players, but if you don't have depth on the roster to help people that if they struggle in a series to help pick up the slack.
Yeah, Jeremy Lin, what up? He won his first NBA championship.
Yeah, that's great, but he
Lynn's
finished the game
sanity's
with his team shirt on because I
Still
doubt
gonna
he
get a
played
fat
much,
ring,
but he
though,
still
on
got a
his
fat
finger.
ring. That's
Yeah, heck
absolutely
yeah.
right.
Okay, but you have to also look at, the Raptors, the resiliency this year. You can say all you want about Kawhi as the difference maker in that, but let's not forget what the Raptors were these past couple years. They made it to the playoffs, of course. They did. But guess who they had to face, of course, going to the NBA Finals?
Big Daddy.
LeBron James.
Yeah.
And
LeBron
LeBron James
The daddy
did
of
not
the Eastern
just
Conference.
beat them. He would smack them into the dirt.
Yeah, he demoralized them.
And now that there was a tweet that said LeBron James doesn't make it to the playoffs one year and you let a whole nother fucking country win, like, come on.
I'm gonna point out on that it's called the NBA Championships. Can we call it the NBA World Championships now? Considering a Canadian team won an NBA championship.
You also have other players from across the world that come here. Kristaps Porzingis is not American. That is not an American
He
name.
didn't play this past week, though.
I know, but
Shoot,
I'm
he
saying
didn't
like
play all season.
I'm saying like players from around the world come to play for the NBA, and I think that it should be a world championship if you have a team like Toronto win a NBA Finals championship. But this is the difference this year between the Raptors of last season's past and this year, that the Warriors were up by, I think it was 8 points at one point, and they just looked dominant, and you're like, well, looks like it's going to go to Game 7 because the Raptors just couldn't get anything going. And bam, just like that, the Raptors keep going on all cylinders, and they end up winning the game, and Kawhi Leonard wins his second. And I think you also have to look at people who want to say, well, there's an asterisk on this championship. No, fuck you. This is a championship for the Raptors because there's a quote from Steph Curry a couple years ago saying, I'm sorry that we were healthy. I'm sorry that we had all our players. I'm sorry that we played not the best team out there, because that was back in 2015 when they played the Cavaliers. And who was at the helm of the Cavaliers? Della Vadova instead of Kyrie Irving. And that series went 4-2 for the Warriors and not the Cavaliers. Because if you have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love also, who hurt his shoulder.
Yeah, he had shoulder surgery, didn't he? that
Yeah.
year? I thought so.
So,
But I agree with Steph Curry though. You can't. Why should he be
look
upset?
what happened the next year. Look what happened.
I understand that, but why would you be upset if you beat a broken team? It's part of the game. It's
Yeah.
part of It's part
I'm
of
not taking
all
away.
sports.
I'm not taking that away from anybody.
You know what, Coach? I played.
You guys
he
know
coaches.
all
we
about
all
that.
talk about
Staying healthy.
staying healthy, but next man up mentality.
Yeah.
So that goes back to the depth thing. So
Yeah, but-
it's all about who's going to be the next man up, who's going to produce, because you still have to go out there and play the entire game with full effort, regardless of who's on the court.
Injuries are part of a championship team. It
Exactly.
happens.
It's part of a season. It's gonna happen. It's just naturally part of sports. So why should you feel bad for the Warriors because they got hurt, or why should you feel bad
I'm not.
because of the Cavs because they got hurt? It's part of the game.
I'm
it's
not.
part of every sporting event that you can think of.
What I'm trying to say, though, is that replacing such a special athlete like Kyrie Irving with Della Vadova, it does have a hindrance to your team. And in your case, as a football coach, you know what that was like. I saw your quarterback go down with a serious knee injury, and you guys were talking so much about this kid, and I even saw him play. He's a special talent, and his backup is great. but he's not this guy great, and that's why he was the starter.
A lot of what goes behind it is all mentality.
Okay, but
it's all mental. But the thing is that if you have a guy that you know is the man, in this case Kyrie Irving, let's talk about that. If he goes down, he's a leader. He's a motivating force on the court. Just him out on the court gives your team confidence. So if he's not on the court or he goes down, well, what goes through your mind? Oh crap. Here it goes. Like, now we have this other guy who we're not fully trusting yet. We're not fully confident yet. It's all a mentality thing. Now is Delvin Doa Kyrie Irving? No.
Hell no.
Hell no. but it's more of a mental thing, because if you have trust in Delvin Dova, you can work around his skill set. Sure. I mean, it's not like they got swept. What in 2015 they went
to 6 games.
4-2?
Went to 6 games, 4-2.
So like you won with him, but when you play a team that can be physically better than you, well, that's just part of sports. It happens.
Yeah, but this isn't taken away from the Raptors. I completely understand. It's not taken away. They won. Oh, boo-hoo. The way that I saw that the Warriors handle the loss, so mature, because they know that, like, look, you can't win them all. You just can't.
Well, it's easy to say that when you have 3 championships.
Oh, yeah, especially when you were 5 years in a row you're in the finals.
Yeah, and then you're back-to-back.
Exactly.
Like, good God. Like, you have rings. You've been to the finals 5 freaking times in a row. It's easy to be humble when you've gone something through that. But it is what it is.
Speaking of basketball.
Congrats to the Raptors, yeah.
Just yesterday, one of the biggest news stories that has hit the open market is Anthony Davis, former number 1 overall pick out of Kentucky, who was a standout player for the Pelicans, has been traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm not making this up, Lonzo Ball, who was their number 2 overall pick 2 years ago, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, 3 first-round picks, and that includes the number 4 overall pick this upcoming week, actually. So not only are they going to get Zion Williamson at the number 1 pick, they're going to get somebody just as good. They could get R.J. Barrett. They could literally get his teammate with him if he falls to number 4. So he's
going to the Knicks.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Is if he falls that far.
But I'm saying if it happens, having his teammate next to him on a Pelicans team that just got Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, and Brandon Ingram,
a lot of energy, a lot of excitement,
and a lot of drama.
Yeah, but you're putting all your marbles into Anthony Davis.
Hopefully not. He's not been much of a drama head. But.
Anthony Davis is a hell of a player. Don't get me wrong. He's a former national champion, number 1 overall pick. No doubt he is a fantastic player, but you're trying to put all your marbles into this to win a championship. So, that's what the whole thing is about, bringing him to the Lakers.
Well, so I want to ask you, Coach and Biff, do you even think he was worth every single thing that the Pelicans got?
Absolutely.
For one guy?
I think the Pelicans made out like bandits. The Pelicans came out on the better end with this.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because it's just what we talked about. You got this high-profile, highly tuned athlete, and he goes out on the court and bang, torn Achilles. Okay, season over, and the next season. So just because he's going to go play with LeBron, don't get measured for rings just yet. There's a little more basketball that has to go on in the West, you know.
But there are other news stories coming out about. Now some players are starting to see through the cracks about who they're also going out for. Kemba Walker from Charlotte is one. Their starting point guard. Former national champion of Connecticut, number 1 overall pick, who's a fantastic player.
I thought he liked it. I thought he liked being in Charlotte.
That's what I was
going to say that, yeah. But he's seeping through the cracks. If you have the opportunity to play for the second greatest player of all time, we're not going to get into that today, but the second greatest player of all time, and then also
Larry Bird? He's retired. Fucking second greatest.
I said, damn it, we're not going to get into that today. But
but don't even use second greatest. Don't even use that.
Okay,
but I feel like it all
Jerry
comes
West
down.
is up there.
Tracy McGrady.
Jason Terry, right? You're right.
Jason Terry.
Dirt, but also.
Just because he's got a cool name.
Are we naming greatest white guys of all time, or like what are we doing
Tracy
here?
McGrady's
Bill Laimbeer.
Jason Terry is not.
Just because his last
Wait,
name.
did you say Jason Terry?
Just because his last name ends in beer.
But I was also saying that Kawhi Leonard is another one that that a news outlet came out today that they are trying to get Kawhi Leonard.
He's
And
going
that
to
is-
the Lakers.
And if he has another chance to get a contract from a team with LeBron, I could see him
I think he
taking
wants
it.
something long term, and I wouldn't blame Kawhi Leonard for doing that. I think he's got to find his own place, and maybe it'll be in Toronto. I mean, they were talking about all these additions to a nice contract in Toronto to keep him there.
Try and give him a max contract,
Yeah.
but he doesn't want that, it
Yeah,
seems. And we're going to go ahead into that about Kawhi Leonard, about what happened with him in San Antonio. That there's a lot of people coming out now because he told the media after the game, like, people didn't believe that I was hurt, and people kept trying to push me to play and everything. And I think he's right that as a player like him, you see what happened to Kevin Durant, him trying to push himself to try and come back to play. Kawhi Leonard, remember, he got in the 2015 playoffs or the 16 play. It was the 16 playoffs against the Warriors. He got his ankle stepped on, and he was out for the entire series. Come back next year, and he tore his quad. And there was a point in time where the coaches and staff are like, "Why aren't you playing? Why can't you come back?" And he has to basically tell him, "Dude, I'm not ready. I will let you know when I am ready. I want to care about my body, and I want to make sure I don't go out there and
Well, I
end
think
up
the
like Kevin
training
Durant."
staff and the doctors would let him know when he was ready to play again, or ready to go back to.
Yeah,
I mean, no
that's-
player determines that. No, I don't know if a player says I'm not playing because I'm sore or I'm not ready for that. I think when it comes at that level, I don't think it's as easy as I'm not ready to play. I'm not putting my body at risk. I just don't see that.
I'm going to extend on that. I think you guys talked about it last week. Do you think that the training staff falsified how they reported it to the news on his extent of his injury?
I don't know. The news is always snooping up their ass anyway. They want they'll break a story on an NFL team, NHL or NBA team. They'll break a story on them in a hurry. So I don't give a shit that something was hidden from them.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares about the stinking media?
Yeah, but the thing that I want to say is that Kawhi Leonard, if he looks like he's healthy, then he's going to be a fantastic athlete because he's got 2 Finals MVPs now, and he's got 2 NBA championships. So I think he's doing just fine. And if he runs into this situation again, it's going to be very interesting to see because we already saw what happened. When he's injured, he wants to make sure that he is perfectly good to go onto the court.
I don't know of anybody that doesn't want to be that way. Klay Thompson coming back onto the court. If you watch the game, Jeff Van Gundy, one of the announcers, he says clearly, if he doesn't come back and shoot those free throws, he won't
He's
be
out of
able
the
to.
game.
He won't be
Yeah.
able to come back to the game. And I'm not saying that the coaching staff did or didn't know that. But it was clear that they had to bring him back to the court, and he was not ready to come back to the court. I don't care that he was jumping in the hallway trying to prove it. You tear your ACL, you're going to know it.
Oh,
You're going to know it.
absolutely.
And they could have braced him up and blah, 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 and taped this, and that, and the other bullshit. He was done. And it's terrible, but that's what happened.
I recall a Clemson quarterback finished a whole game with a torn ACL. Do you know who that was?
No.
Deshaun Watson, and he won that game.
He sucks.
Or Carson Wentz. I mean, he finished a play, and I watched it on YouTube. He was talking about that play because he knew that there was something wrong with his knee, and he knew it, but he didn't want to come out of the game. He knew it was 4th down, and he knew that he just needed one play. But he also says, "I'm gonna take the snap, but I can't move." So if you watch the play, he doesn't move.
And it's a
he
terrible
literally
throw,
kinda,
too.
He kind of just well, he
I know,
has
he-
one
he-
leg.
he only has
He
so
has
much
one
power on
freaking
him.
leg, but he's just standing there like when something's wrong with your knee. It's not like you just mess around. It burns. It freaking hurts. Like
Yeah.
it's abnormal. So he knew when he hits the ground, because you can see it in his face, that he knew something was wrong. And if he willingly came back onto the court, then that's just, it's not healthy. It's not smart.
It's
But-
not smart, but it also shows he's got some balls of steel.
Yep, it really does. And I think that's what people had to say about Kevin Durant as well. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the other playoff games, of course.
He needed an Achilles made of steel too, because that shit didn't happen.
Well, yeah, good luck standing on that.
Yeah, whatever.
You can't even.
That's all right.
even move
So
it.
let's go ahead and move on to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. The Blues and the Bruins in Boston.
Woo-hoo, St. Louis.
And as we were doing the podcast
They broke their
last
cherry.
week, we were watching the game on the screen, and it was 2-0 at the end of the first period, because that's how far we got until the show ended, of course. And it looked like the Blues were going to win. If you go up 2-0 into Game 7, the pressure is on the Bruins immensely, and they just could not capitalize, and they lose 4-1. Excuse me for fucking up the intro and saying it was 4-0. It was 4-1. My mistake. But the St. Louis Blues have won the Stanley Cup 52 years in the making, man.
Yeah, I saw that. 1967. Wow.
I wouldn't even.
That was their
twinkle in my
first
dad's eye.
Western Conference championship. First. In 52-year history, that's the first and only conference championship they've ever won.
Not conference, like world championship.
Well,
in a way.
to
Yeah.
even get there, I mean,
Yeah, that's very
just-
true. We said on the last show they were the worst team in the West
Yeah.
in January.
They said that they were talking about Jordan Binnington, the
Yeah.
goalie. He was a call-up. He was a rookie call-up in mid-December.
That sounds like Matt Murray
In
from the
mid-December.
Penguins a couple
And
years ago.
then you're talking Stanley Cup game final. He's virtually a brick wall in the finals, Game 7. He just shut down the Bruins, and the Bruins are no slouch for crying out
No
loud.
slouch. They made it to the Stanley Cup final. At least they won a Stanley Cup final a couple years ago. But for the Blues, it's awesome to see. Thank God it was the Blues, because I'm tired of seeing people saying 1 year ago the Washington Capitals have hoisted the cup and
I'm still
done the
seeing pictures.
parade.
What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, I was at Mike's Crab Shack in Annapolis this weekend, and there was a guy standing in front of me. I was waiting in line to get my seat, and there was a guy sitting in front of me he had a hat on backwards with sunglasses on, and guess what his hat was? 2018 Stanley Cup champions.
Yep.
It was his Washington Capitals hat.
Well,
Have you
I
ever-
will not say anything badly about that, because being an Eagles fan and getting your first championship, it's amazing. So, Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, the guy that I used to
Not
work
anymore.
with on my previous podcast,
You
you
can't
know
take that
how
away.
hard it was trying
Can't
to
take
say,
that away.
like, oh, congrats to the Caps and everything. He's like, yeah, we're the Stanley Cup champs. And I had to, as a Penguins fan, I go, yeah, we're the 5-time Stanley Cup champs who beat your ass the previous 2 seasons to win the cup.
I will say this though, it's fantastic for not just hockey but just sports in general.
I don't
to
thi-
have you think about it, since 2016 we've had, right now in my notes I have 5 different champions.
You have to look at this decade in sports and look at the new champions that have come about.
There's a
Yeah,
ton.
yeah.
Rich
There's a
Eisen
ton.
posted this. Your Philadelphia Eagles, first Super Bowl championship in the Super Bowl era,
Ever.
of course.
We have the Cubs who won the first World Series in
Oh
over
my God,
100
yeah.
years. You have the Caps who never won before.
The
The
Cavs.
Astros who never won before. The Cavs who never won before.
Completed the greatest comeback in NBA history. Like, you have all these great teams in this decade.
Oh shit! It's the Browns now, huh?
I was calling
Let's
that
not
next.
go there
Holy
yet.
shit.
Let's not go there
That's
yet.
not going to happen.
No,
They
no, no,
suck.
no, no, no,
They're
no.
going to suck. Odell Beckham.
I don't think they're gonna suck.
He likes boys. Stop
Ah.
it.
Like, this
Okay.
decade in sports has been great,
New
and
Orleans
I hope
Saints
it
number
doesn't
one.
stop. I hope, like, but
Pass
if
interference.
there's one thing that we know in this decade is that
Too
Patriots
soon.
rule and everybody else drools. So for the NFL, so that's the truth.
Well, as long as number 12's back there, good.
You got a
fucking luck.
shot.
Yep. So speaking of that, let's go ahead and get into our final sports segment of the day. We're going to talk some NFL action. It's our number one sport topic that we love to talk about is the NFL. And now that OTAs are done and minicamp is about to be done, we're going to
Now
get.
it just needs to hurry the fuck up.
Yes,
and
it
get here.
does. Because seriously, all the major sports are done, and all we're seeing is I saw a video of literally these 4 guys just throwing a ball on a court, and people were watching, and I was like, "This is a sport? Are you serious?"
Well, we're in the dead part of the
I
part of
get
the
that.
sports season. So we're in the middle of the baseball season. However, like we got the women's national team in the World Cup, which is a shining light. But normally, think about it, like from the end of June or
We
the
say
middle
that
of
as
June,
we're listening to a
to-
rerun of the Patriots AFC Championship game.
81 days. We got 81 days.
81 days until
September
kickoff.
5th.
So-
September 5th is the first kickoff day.
So right now we're gonna go into our preseason rankings for the NFL. The rankings are going to go like this. We're going to pick a team from each division, North, South, East, and West in both conferences, and choose who is going to be the best team to come out of each division and why we see that. And we're going to have some little banter. We're going to talk a little bit about it and see why we think that. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the North of the NFC. I think that the Bears are going to win it. They look like the special team from last year, and they won
Bears.
because of a tipped field goal that was going to win the game against the Eagles.
Except for their shitty Cody Parkey kicker.
Don't
Fucker.
kick it when you know that they're gonna ice you. Never kick it.
Yeah.
I still
Bears.
think Kareem Hunt should have been hired as the Bears kicker, but that's just me.
Yeah, he probably kicks
You're
better.
an awful person. I can tell you
Kicks
that.
better.
You're
He
an awful
kicks better
person.
than Parkey does.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
Biff, who do you got winning the North?
Bears.
Bears.
Yeah, I think that what Matt Nagy has started there, and with the additions of guys like Khalil Mack, you got a pretty good football team. I'm not saying that the Packers can't bite you on the rear end because, with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, I don't know. But that's about the biggest competition you're going to get there is Green Bay. I still think the Bears.
Yeah, and you're cramming up your cram hole. Matt LaFleur is not going to get the job done, I think, for the Packers as their new head coach.
I
think-
believe that the Packers are getting up there in age, and they need to get some youth in there to make a good run at the Bears.
They need somebody that I know on their defense. is what I
Exactly.
do. Like
With Clay Matthews is gone, isn't he?
yes, he is. And their linebackers have never met each other, basically, on
Yep.
that defense.
I will say this though: the only thing that
Are
is
you going to be the
making me
low man
even-
out and pick somebody different?
my-
You're going to be the low man out and
He
pick somebody
is.
fucking different.
Skip the North with him.
Well, I don't think the Packers are good enough to win. First year head coach, their defense is.
If you
And
pick the Lions, I'm
experience, they
shutting
don't
this
have it.
podcast off right now. Okay, good. He's giving me the stare of not
Okay,
the Lions.
why the fuck would I put the Lions?
Hey,
I don't know.
did you hear the rumor that Megatron is coming back to Detroit?
He's not coming back.
He said-
and he's not going to help
He
that
said
team.
he said if
So
they
they're
offer
gonna-
them right amount of money,
So you're
he's
telling me
coming.
that they're going to go from 7 wins to 9 wins?
Yep.
You're and
Okay.
you know how
Sounds good.
dysfunctional.
But,
you know,
but okay, so here's
Okay.
the thing.
Yeah,
So,
go ahead.
so the thing with the Bears, and why it's the only reason why I'm not all in, is Trubisky's consistency. If he doesn't grow this year, they're fucked.
I will agree with that.
yeah, I can agree to that.
I
And
think
that's the only
Minnesota's
caveat,
your
yeah.
real threat.
He's only played 2 seasons. How I mean, what do you want out of him?
Well,
We
okay,
want
so
Carson Wentz
Well,
type
when
of
he
shit
came
right
into the
now.
league,
Okay.
he was very
Okay.
unpolished. He didn't. His rookie year was okay. He got better this year. If he gets even better, the Bears will run through the division no problem. If he doesn't, then Minnesota's going to bite you on the ass.
That's the expectation anyway. I mean,
But
you
he should be
expect
getting better.
Yeah, he should be.
Minnesota ain't shit. They got a overpaid quarterback.
They got a great defense, but yeah, you're right about that. Like, this is how dysfunctional the Lions are. They tried to trade a tight end to the Patriots, but it didn't work. And so what happened? He went back to the Lions and he got released. So he literally could
He didn't
not
pass his physical.
Oh, he didn't pass his physical? I
yeah.
thought it was
He-
just his functionality for the
Okay, well,
Lions.
talking about the Lions is either you're thinking,
Hey,
if you
Georgia's,
get 9 wins, you had a good year.
Georgia's number one former quarterback, Matt in Georgia history,
You're
Matt
really going to
Stafford.
talk about Georgia right now?
Matt Stafford.
Yeah, that's very true. But okay, but I'm not gonna make him mad.
Okay, well, the Lions ain't winning. The Bears will win.
Yeah,
call
let's
it
go
that.
with the
There
Bears.
we go.
So I'm
The
going to go
Bears.
to the East then next, and I'm picking the Eagles. Like even with like, oh no, I'm lying. Daniel Jones
Eagles,
is the fucking
fly.
savior of the Giants, man. I'm joking.
No.
Carson Wentz and the Eagles are going to be just fine this upcoming year, and I don't think that the Washington Redskins can do anything.
I don't think Washington's there yet. They're just not. They're unsettled at the quarterback position.
And
That's
Dallas
not going to
still
happen.
has a terrible head coach to me. They really do.
That's the biggest threat.
I
though, is
think.
Dallas.
I think. Yeah, Dallas is definitely the biggest threat. They get things sorted out. It would not surprise me if they dethroned Philadelphia. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if they did.
It
But I would definitely on my sheet I picked the Eagles. Eagles.
we're the most consistent team, I feel like, and
Yeah.
I can be biased, sure, but all around, I think Dallas is if Dak Prescott is consistent, then they got a great chance to win.
He's asking, or his agent is asking for upwards of $34 million a year, though.
If he gives the same thing he's done the past 2 years this year, he ain't getting it.
Like,
Period.
His
gotta have
rookie
a
year,
great-
yes, he was
he's got-
fantastic.
Okay, well, when you have the NFL's
I
leading
did-
rusher as a rookie and
Yeah.
the best offensive line in football, it's easy to do that.
Yeah.
But again, if you do the same thing, if you're mediocre, you're not great, you're not exceptional, then you're not going to get like a super max contract. You're just not.
Okay, yeah. Like,
But Jerry Jones, it doesn't. If he does, then Jerry Jones is.
and then
dumb, in
also
my
the
opinion,
Giants. Here's my thing about the Giants is that they tried to draft a freaking quarterback when they need help on the offensive line, and also you try your franchise player is Saquon Barkley, and I can't believe that you would draft a quarterback in the first round instead of trying to help out Saquon Barkley.
I'm going to step in on that. I love the Daniel Jones pick, and I feel like halfway through the season he's taken over for Eli.
I'm not saying okay, and I like to smoke pot, so we all like to think things.
Hey, I sniff dirty ass every now and then, but hey. But my pick is the Cowboys.
I just found him off the street here, people. He is not
wouldn't,
a real
okay.
friend.
wouldn't surprise me in the least.
It
yeah,
wouldn't
so,
surprise me, but I don't like to hear that.
Yeah.
No, but I
Not
think,
as a fan, you wouldn't want to hear
No,
that.
but Daniel Jones, I feel like is Eli Manning light.
have
right
you
now.
seen the
He
picture of
is
him
2.0.
staring, of like having the little?
He has
They're
the
twins.
he has the
They're
Manning
scary.
stare.
They're so scary. Or the Manning look of confusion, like, did I just throw a pick?
That is
Like,
Archie
what?
Manning's illegitimate son.
Who is?
That's his middle son.
Daniel
It's not Daniel
Jones.
Jones.
Oh,
It's
brother.
What's the middle Manning's name that nobody knows about or
Isn't
cares
he
about?
like a preacher?
I don't
or
know.
something?
That's why nobody knows about him. That's why
But my East pick is the Cowboys.
Okay.
you're going with the Cowboys. Okay, nobody cares why then. So it's no,
Hey,
go ahead.
Their 7th round pick from this past year, defensive end from Oregon, I believe is who he was. He is stepping up and taking over the defensive line. Their linebacker core with Vander Esch is going up.
That's the key for them. Their defense is unreal, especially.
Elliott's
going to
have a top year, and Prescott's going to step up and show everybody.
Okay,
Could.
so now we're going to move.
You're supposed to be, after 5 years in the league,
Exactly.
you should be getting results.
Yeah, especially and also not only that, it's making that offensive line better as well when you have a good
Yeah.
defensive line like that. So we're going to move on to the West, and I still have the Rams coming out.
Oh,
Their
absolutely.
offense is still too powerful. I have them over the Seahawks, even though Russell Wilson, $35 million a year, cough cough.
Big contract.
Hey,
Yeah.
The man wants to play till he's 45. Let him play.
I know, but Jared Goff's backup is Blake Bortles. They can't lose.
Exactly. Blake
Blake of
Bortles
the year,
is
baby.
He's boat. He's the boat, the best of all time.
Hey,
Like-
Blake Bortles is the Brandon Whedon of this year.
Oh my
No,
God.
well, the Cardinals are rebuilding. They might have a little bit of energy, but they're not better than the Rams.
Oh, well, they got cell phone breaks, so they'll be okay over there.
Yeah, I don't see Kyler Murray amounting to enough this year.
Not enough to beat
No,
the Rams.
no, I think that they're a couple of games improved, but at the end of the day,
There is
that-
a vibrate button, Biff. I hope you understand that.
Hey, I'm getting my baseball updates. Y'all don't want to talk about baseball.
yeah,
But
so
yeah.
there's a,
Continue.
oh no, there's not much else to say. I just don't think that San Francisco and Arizona have much to offer against even
Patrick
a
Peterson's
depleted.
also suspended for
Uh,
6 games
and
as
the,
well.
I mean, the old Legion of Boom is pretty much the
There
Legion
is
of
no
Boom.
Legion of
There's
Boom
no-
anymore.
There
They're all
isn't. Yeah,
gone.
they're all gone. Yeah, so
Bobby
I don't
Wagner's
know.
just standing on the side of the road like,
think-
hey, what happened?
I think the Rams are in a perfect position. They're much like the Patriots in the North, where there's not a lot of competition in their league. It's just not. I mean, when you look at when we get to the AFC, you see the Patriots sitting in the AFC North, and there ain't a whole lot there.
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
you got? The Dolphins?
Yeah,
And they can't beat
and
the Dolphins.
they haven't been relevant since Marino, okay? And that's a long time ago.
What are you talking about? They got Josh Rosen. The Rosen one.
Dude, he's the backup he's the backup there. Okay,
Don't they
so
still have
Ryan
Brock Osweiler?
Fitzpatrick.
I don't.
They got Ryan Fitzpatrick and Brock Osweiler.
I'm pretty sure
Dude, their
Osweiler's still there.
quarterback lineup is stacked.
Stackhouse.
Wow. Okay.
So to the south we go. the South will not rise again because New Orleans is going to take it once again, I feel.
Yeah, New Orleans is a shithole city, but they got a good football team.
And 2 years in a row, it is. I said this on my previous show that for New Orleans, it is hard for 2 years in a row to lose on some straight bullshit. Okay.
Yeah, well.
You have the Minneapolis Miracle, and then you have the worst call I've ever seen in NFL history happen.
Maybe they're not
right
supposed to win.
I'm calling it this year. Sean Payton's going to start putting some money in some referees' pockets.
Just like Bounty Gate,
Just
basically.
slide him a 50.
Referee Gate now.
Hey, exactly.
Just slide him a 50. Why the hell not?
I mean, yeah, it's only a part-time job, and they get
No.
6 figures from
Well,
it.
Tampa-
So why not?
Tampa Bay ain't good enough.
Who do they have?
Carolina's been on the downslope. Like, they have Christian McCaffrey, and they didn't do anything.
He
in
is their team.
And
He's
they,
their
didn't,
team
they didn't do
coach.
anything to help him offensively. Like he's
Yeah, I
still
know.
the only one. They have no receivers really. And Cam Newton.
We
Cam
don't know
Fig
if he's going
Newton.
to come back.
And Cam
We
Newton.
don't know if he's going to
Yeah,
play.
He's back. He was
Who,
throwing.
Fig Newton?
Yeah, Fig
Yeah, he was
Newton.
playing. They said he
Will
changed
Greer's
his
is
throw.
back up.
Said he threw.
Hey.
He changed his throwing mechanics a little bit, but he's throwing.
At least he's throwing.
Yeah, he
Oh,
had,
that at least gives you a chance. I mean,
Well, you got a rookie backup in Will Greer, so I have to see how he works out if he does get a
the
chance.
only one is Atlanta, and you don't know how they're as inconsistent as they come sometimes.
Who do they got? Julio Jones?
But they're good.
Yeah,
they're
that's it.
well coached.
Apparently, that's
they're
it.
well coached. They have a good running back. They got decimated by injuries last year, so it's interesting.
And yet Matt Ryan makes $30 million a year.
But the Saints are the more well-rounded team.
yeah, he
They're
does.
well
He's on
coached
the list,
too.
isn't he?
yeah, he's actually number 4 on the
shit.
list for quarterback salaries.
He's good.
Oh
Matt
yeah,
Ryan is good.
The
He
only
is.
reason
He's
Drew
good
Brees-
up until the third quarter, and then he's going to fall asleep through the second half, and then of course the Patriots are going to come back and win. So we're going to move on to the AFC now, and let's go ahead back to the North. And I still think that my Steelers are going to take the North, even with like this. This has nothing to do with bias. It has to deal with the type of team that they are. And also the mentality that they have right now. Look, the world is against them saying, you trade away Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell is gone, and who do you got now? Oh, I don't know. James Conner, Juju Smith-Schuster still. And then also we have Jalen Samuels, who was the king in that Patriots game that we were at the Steelers game, was running all over the Patriots. You have 2 good running backs right there, and you got Snell, their draft pick from Kentucky, who is now a part of the Steelers. You also have Devin Bush, who is a rookie linebacker out of Michigan, who's coming in to help out their defense.
And you also have the world's smartest backup quarterback.
Yeah, Joshua Dobbs, former aerospace engineer from Tennessee, graduated with a degree from them. But I still think that even with the hype of the Browns, I don't care. The Steelers are more veteran battle-tested, and I think that they're going to win it. No question.
I think it goes down to consistency. With the Steelers, you know what you're going to get. The Browns, you don't know yet. Like it's all hype right now. So until they get on the field, you don't know. And then the Ravens, I think it comes down to Lamar Jackson and their defense.
Hey,
They traded.
Hey, Mark Ingram.
I understand that. But
Trace
when
McSorley.
but when you can't throw the ball, what are you supposed to do? Look,
Okay.
and I told CD this last year when they played the Chargers again in the playoffs. So the Chargers were the only team to play Lamar Jackson twice.
The only team.
The only
And he
team
was
to play him
right.
twice. And I'm like, yeah, that's great that he's putting up all this stuff. It's just that you've never had the game plan for a quarterback like this. But then the Chargers, what happens?
No, it was a
They
one-sided
showed up
victory.
and shut him down until the late fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Hey, the backup for Baltimore, the legendary RG3.
RG knee.
Exactly.
All I'm saying is that if Lamar Jackson loses his job, he will never get it back because Trace McSorley is on that team. They will never get it back, no question. But it doesn't matter. What do you think about the Browns then? Because like they're the talk of the town.
They're my
right now.
pick.
They have a lot of potential. They really do. Like they have a lot of potential.
They are the last year's LA Rams on paper, the top team.
But until
They don't have Cooper Kupp though.
they show up on Sunday, it's all hype.
It's all hype, even with the acquisition of Odell Beckham and now his brother Jarvis Landry together, basically.
Kareem Hunt.
He's a running back though for this team. He's not a kicker.
Hey, he can play special teams.
Like, onside kicker, right?
Ocho Cinco did it.
Like, here's the thing about the Browns is that you're right. They look good on paper. Yeah, Baker Mayfield's a stud, no question. But, I mean, come on now. You can't expect a team that has literally won freaking 9 games in 3 years.
Yes.
9 games in 3 years to make it to the Super Bowl or go to the playoffs?
But the sore spot of Hugh Jackson is gone.
Okay, but you're telling me that
They get
rookie
a
head
fresh
coach
start.
like Freddie
I
Kitchens...
wouldn't even say that was a sore spot. That was more of just a kick in the nuts.
But you're telling me that Freddie Kitchens is going to be able to deal with all these multiple personalities on this team?
I mean, he did with Baker Mayfield. in his
Okay,
first
but
year
now he's
as
going to have a
offensive
guy
coordinator?
like a BBB like Odell Beckham, who's a baby back bitch, and he whines all the time. He didn't even show up to OTAs.
Money
He
Manziel's
didn't even
coming
learn
back.
the offense.
At the end of the day, you can say what you want about Odell Beckham. Kid can fucking play.
His
Dude
one
can play.
His one
He-
hand is stronger than both mine.
He is. The dude can play. So if 13's on the field, you got to pay attention to that.
And if you double
80's
cover him,
if 80's on the field, you pay attention to that. Njoku, you got to pay attention to him too.
that is
Nick
a
Chubb,
scary,
you got to pay attention to him too.
That is a scary
and,
running back.
And Baker Mayfield, you got to pay attention to him too. But again, it all depends on Sunday. I can name all that stuff,
We've seen dream
and I can name all
teams.
these different people, but if you don't show up on Sunday, it does not matter.
How did they split up with the runs on Kareem Hunt and Nick
Well,
Chubb?
Kareem Hunt's going to not be playing for the
Well,
first
Chubb's
8
the
games.
starter.
I know. Is Chubb going to be the starter when Hunt shows up, though?
Absolutely.
No question. You're
Absolutely.
telling me that he's just going to lose his job to a kicker?
No, I mean, hey, weirder things have happened.
But like, okay, I see what you're saying about the Browns, but I mean, I still see the Steelers as the consistent team to win it in the North. So right now we're going to go to the East, and of course, the East, the Patriots. Of course, it's the Patriots. You have to expect them to go back to the Super Bowl. TB12 is in the backfield. He is going to get the job done. Do you think anything else? Like, I mean, come on. Look at the quarterbacks of Miami now with the trades of Josh Rosen. You also have Fitzmagic, and apparently Brock Osweiler is still there. Then you have the Bills, and we're not going to talk about the Bills. And then you also have the Jets. And, yeah, the Jets now have Sam Darnold, who is hopefully going to be healthy enough this year to play out a full season with Le'Veon Bell. Could you see them as the team to take out the Patriots?
No,
No.
no, I don't see that at all.
If
Yeah.
you have number 12 behind center,
You got a chance.
yeah, that is the smartest man to play quarterback.
And he can chug a beer like a champ, too. So
Hey.
he's got
Hey,
the
Got
looks,
that.
the
Hey, that's
drinking.
another segment. It's coming up. It's coming up. It's not good.
Okay, but like, that's an easy pick for all of us, I think. Let's go ahead to the West, and I'm still picking the Chargers out of the West.
Really?
Once again, yeah, I don't see Oakland. Don't get me started.
it's not
on that.
Oakland. I'm thinking about Kansas City.
The Queefs.
I still think that the Chargers, because like, look, here was the issue with the Chiefs. They're not going to have Tyreek Hill, most likely. They're probably not going to have him for the rest of the. He was their difference maker. You're telling, and Kareem Hunt's gone.
No,
don't give me that look.
no. I want to know how many quarterbacks you've seen throw a no-look pass and a left-handed pass.
I don't know how many
That will
Super
only
Bowls
get
has he
you
won.
so far.
Oh, that's right. Which quarterback did he lose to? Because we're watching it right now. Okay, that's what I'm saying is that I see that the Chargers. Yeah, of course they had acquisitions like Tyrann Mathieu go to the Chiefs, but stellar seasons happen, and then sophomore slumps happen. They do, they really do. Just take you have to see that. I think that the Chargers, who had a balanced offense and defensive team, because that was the Chiefs, they had the number 1 offense and the number 32 defense. It was on the opposite side of the spectrum for them. And guess what? Guess who was the cost of their team? An offsides penalty in the AFC Championship game. And I don't see that the Chiefs will be able to redeem that, because now they fired their defensive coordinator and they're going to get a new one. And maybe he could change something around, but come on. I don't see that the Broncos would be in the mix for him with Drew Lock.
Hey,
No.
Joe Flacco, according to his defense, is looking like a Super Bowl champion.
That's great in practice.
Exactly.
Okay. whatever.
I mean, who do the Chargers
I just
have
don't-
though?
Well, I don't
Who are
think
the Keenan Allen?
Keenan
They're all-
Allen,
they're also-
Phillip Rivers, Melvin Gordon.
Hunter Henry is now going to come back for them.
Okay, you guys. Okay.
Antonio Gates might be back from stocking his shelves at Martin's. Who knows?
I'm just saying that dude's older than dirt itself.
Yeah, but I'm saying he could come
and
back.
he was still one of the better tight ends in the freaking league.
Exactly.
Unless you bring in Jason Witten.
And then you have your
Oof.
defense as well, and that was stellar because look how they were able to say, like, look, Lamar, you're not going to be able to do that against us anymore. But once they came up into town against TB12 in the Patriots, yeah, it was one side against
one
them.
remaining factor for the Patriots is Gronk coming back.
No,
Okay.
I don't think he's coming back. And if he did, I don't know that he'd have much of an impact right away. He'd never be in playing shape, even if he was.
He's too worried about starring in movies and TV shows.
I mean, he's
Could
made
be.
more money than his contract, apparently. So he's well off. So the final division is the South of the AFC. And I picked the Jaguars, and I completely forgot, and I'm changing this pick. The Colts are going to win the South. They look like
Say
the
the
hottest
Jags? Come
team.
on now.
The only reason I said the Jags is because Nick Foles is the
I was
man.
going to say they have
I know,
Nick
but he
Foles,
doesn't
Big
have
Nick.
But the Colts are the hottest team, and they are I mean,
Luck-
listen to Pat
Luck
McAfee.
State.
They are. Like the Colts, Andrew Luck is back into shape and form, and I picked them to beat the Chiefs last year in the divisional round. It didn't happen, but they have a stellar team, and the fact that they're going to get even better this year with the cap space that they've got, they're looking on fire, and I don't see them stopping.
Yeah, I like Indy. I was thinking maybe Titans, maybe Tennessee, but what the hell's his name? Mariota. He's just he's never able to finish that entire season.
He had
Something-
numbness in his left hand. He couldn't even feel his left hand, apparently.
I don't know. Houston is also another one out there.
I've
I don't
got
know. There's a
Houston.
toss-up. I still think Indy's probably the best in that division.
I think it
So-
comes down to Indy and Houston. I think Indy's the more consistent football team, but Houston's got that little bit of a swagger to them where Indy's gonna roll up and you know what you're gonna get. They're gonna hit you in the mouth
And they got DeAndre Hopkins.
and they're gonna throw the ball around.
DeAndre Hopkins, they got a stellar defense. I mean, you've got Indy with a running back that nobody heard of until he started running the ball last year.
behind the best offensive line in football last year with Quentin Nelson and the boys blocking for Andrew Luck. But I do have to agree that it would be a tighter one with Houston, but I still see that Indy takes it easily.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if Indy did win the division. It's not an impossibility at all.
All right, so that's going to finish it for the sports segments for us. Let's get to some entertainment here. Last week, we went to go see Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Godzilla.
And it was a great
Godzilla.
movie. People would say that it's cheesy, but guess what? We're guys. We
Dude
like
can
to see-
swim, can he?
Yeah, he can. He hides underwater like a fish.
How the
And,
hell
like-
does a freaking 70-foot tall dinosaur hide in the water?
Yeah, and they can't
and,
find
he
him. 'cause
and the fucker glows too.
He's nuclear radiated, man. Seriously. So we saw it. It was a great movie. And now the final movie in the trilogy is going to be Godzilla vs. King Kong, because if you go see the movie, they talk about how King Kong is one of the monsters. He's one of the guys who has been a creature that has been lost at sea. He's not been found. And he was the one monster that was not in the movie. And they show a little sneak preview of Skull Island at the end of the movie. And so you can tell who's going to be in the third movie, basically.
Yeah, I think King Kong's going to be in definitely it's going to be Godzilla versus King Kong. It'll
It's
definitely
going to be Godzilla versus John Wick.
John Wick.
John Wick wins.
I got my money on Wick.
If Godzilla touches his dog, it's game over. Just give the man a pencil and it's
Just
done.
give him a sharpened pencil and it's a wrap.
You just need
It's
a
a wrap.
Mustang 2 in the battle, and you got it. And so, my money, I may be out of the majority vote here, but I'm still picking Kong. I'm still picking Kong over Zilla. I really am.
No.
I've watched more movies of
Absolutely
Kong
not.
than I have Zilla, even though the old movies of Godzilla were not that good. But this Godzilla movie was great. But now he's made out to be the bad guy if you see the end of the movie.
Well, I think if you go all the way back in the history of Godzilla, originally he was. I mean, he just laid siege to poor Japanese cities and stuff like that. But he was cast as a villain. And then the first movie that they had, which was Godzilla versus King Kong, they cast him as the one who came out on top after their epic fight. And because it was termed at that time that King Kong was a bigger draw, and because Godzilla was seen as a villain, they put him over. It was kind of like friggin' super creature wrestling, where they have you have a heel and a face guy, and the face guy's always winning.
I will say this, that I don't think King Kong's going to give as much of a headache as Ghidorah did, the three-headed dragon that they gave to freaking Godzilla in Rodan, of course, those creatures. But I still think that King Kong, the size of him, he's beaten T-Rexes, he's beaten freaking Earth Eaters, like he's beaten them all, and so I still think that he takes the win regardless.
Yeah, I think that when you look at the size of Godzilla now, they've made him so much bigger. And
That's my big thing.
Godzilla currently is 355 feet, and Kong is 267 feet.
And one beats his chest and kills
And who climbed an
dinosaurs
Empire
and then
State Building, though, okay? Who took on the United States military?
Climbed the Empire State Building and bitch slapped a bunch of planes and helicopters.
And then you got a guy who
Then he
just
fell. Whoops.
and died. While you got
Found
Godzilla,
his weakness,
who's
bullets.
like a atomic breathing freaking
Fire.
Dinosaur.
skyscraper looking thing who got nuked and only got stronger. Where King Kong falls off a building and dies.
Yeah.
So I like Godzilla. I don't care what the comics say. You have a monkey that beats his chest.
He's not a monkey.
Okay, well, whatever.
He's an ape.
Difference.
Okay, so you got an ape.
Gorillas are apes. They're not monkeys.
Yeah, exactly. Tarzan grew up with one.
I'm not a freak. I'm not a
Look
freak.
how great he turned out.
Okay, we're talking about a
He's got a cool
200
yell.
foot. We're talking about a 250 foot ape.
Yeah.
He might scare the ape.
Well, I
with his
think-
My
roar.
bad. I
I
called him
think-
a monkey.
I think he's got the edge in strength, overall strength, just simply because he's got thumbs.
He's got
He can run
thumbs.
faster than Godzilla.
baby.
And
He's
he
got
can run
thumbs.
faster than Godzilla too.
Exactly.
Like, he
He's
can
got the
escape.
agility.
He's got escapability.
Yeah, I think
he
he's
could. Godzilla could just be standing here, and you could see freaking Godzilla swing from the Empire State Building and kick him in the face and knock him
Kick
down.
him in the face, grab him
Well,
by
the
the
thing
tail.
about it is that he's got his breath, which is powerful. You know what I mean? The lava breath or the whatever.
Laser beams, whatever the hell you want to call it.
You know, it came out zzz in the old movies, and but you know, he's got that, and then his tail. I mean, he's got a powerful tail. So you know, I think if Godzilla could get a hold of him, he could literally choke him out. But I don't know. I think you'd have to sneak attack him. Not to mention that if they end up in the water, Godzilla's superior swimming.
Sure.
He's a crocodile.
He can swim much faster, deeper, everything like that. He could literally drown Kong. So I think if they're on land, maybe the edge goes to King Kong, just simply because he's faster and has the reach advantage. You know, let's face it, Godzilla doesn't have very fucking big or long arms. So
He's like
I
a
don't know.
T-Rex looking.
I got a big head and little arms.
And he's not as old. Godzilla's not as old as King Kong. King Kong's aired in 1933, so Kong's got some age on him.
All I know is that if Godzilla beat a three-headed flying dragon, freaking looking jaunt, and then loses to an ape,
Good description.
Godzilla is the fakest. What? Like, how do you beat
Well,
a
he needed
three-headed
help.
flying alien-looking thing,
He
and
got
then you
help
go,
from Mothra. That's why.
and then you lose to King Kong?
Well,
Like, come on! Like, this thing can fly,
Hey.
it can swim, it can blow shit up, and then you lose to an ape that goes and
Hey, we're
and
talking
smashes
about a
shit.
movie that might as well be the WWE, so we're not gonna go here there.
Yeah, King Kong's gonna come up and he's gonna say, "Oh yeah, I want you."
Macho
He's
Man Randy Savage.
Yeah, he's gonna, and then friggin' Godzilla's gonna breathe on him and he's gonna say, "Can you smell what the Rock is cooking?"
And you can't see me.
Yeah, so it looks like we have one for Godzilla, two for Godzilla, but we look We have two for Kong.
Two for Kong.
So we're even. That movie's going to come out next year, though, so it's going to be a little bit before that comes out in 2020. So to wrap this show up, once again, this is a sports podcast, but this is Pub Talk, and we're going to drink some beers. So we're going to go ahead and get into 6 beers. These beers are not just from in here in Virginia.
Some are.
But some of them are, but I'm going to let Coach go ahead and take over for our
I'm
last
skilled at
segment of
this.
the show
I'm
because
skilled at this.
he can't remember 1987.
The PhD in beers coming
either.
out.
Yeah. All right. Listen to that sound once again. Listen to that.
Pop a top again.
Yeah. All right. So the first one on the list is a commercial beer, Blue Moon. It's a new called the Brewer Select. It's a honey wheat.
Honey wheat.
And we just picked it up from our local grocery store. We wanted to give it a try. Pass it around. Give yourself brewed in Golden, Colorado. This was just a little bit higher than a regular domestic beer. It's about 5.2% alcohol by volume. Made with clover honey, wheat and clover honey.
You don't
A
get
lot more foam in that one that I got.
Yeah.
You
not,
don't get much honey smell to it.
It's
not
definitely
like that zombie honey ale that we got last week.
That's not bad.
I've only had one sip and I'm already
That's not bad.
losing my words.
I'm wondering if this is a.
That's not bad at all. That really isn't.
It's definitely a.
You know, being a big Blue Moo fan. Blue Moo?
Blue Moo. They have blue cows around
you know what?
here.
You know what? You're right. So I'm a big Blue Moon fan, and you can definitely taste a little bit more sweetness to it. You know, it's a lot more citrusy with the casual Blue Moon.
Stop it.
So there's not as much citrus, but it's citrus. There's a lot more sweetness to it that comes from the honey rather than coming from like a citrus or a fruit.
You just turned 21 and you're already having a freaking master's in beer.
Hey,
apparently.
Blue Moon's my shit. All right.
I'm gonna take this man to a wine tasting club.
All right, the next one up. I was excited about this one because I just
Oh,
like
it's
the
in a
label.
can finally.
Yeah, this is from Founders Brewing, Grand Rapids, Michigan. This is solid gold. It's a premium.
Michigan.
Yeah, it's a premium lager. Oh man, it has a great color to
Oh,
it.
look
It has
at
a
that
great
color.
smell. We're gonna try this one. 4.4% alcohol by volume, so it's more along the lines of traditional domestic beer. Once again, it's called Solid Gold, which is premium lager. Founders Brewing Company. Okay.
Really? Yeah, I don't know. That one doesn't have much taste to it.
Nope.
I
Doesn't
kind
have
of
much
like
taste.
it.
I'm not
Yeah.
a fan. It doesn't
I
have
kinda
much
like
taste
it.
to me.
It's a little bitter.
Yeah, it does. It did say that the IBUs,
Might just
which
be
is
the
that bitter,
beer in the can. I don't know.
is a little elevated. Most of your lagers sometimes are less than 20, but that's not bad.
The taste doesn't sit around long either.
I wouldn't sit.
That's
and,
what I'm saying. It
It hits the
evaporates.
tongue and it.
I wouldn't sit and drink a whole pack of this. But
No.
No, but it's not bad. It's enjoyable.
I need to be hammered before I pack before I
No,
drink a
but it's-
6-pack of this.
It's
It's not bad.
it's got bitter and then it sweetens up a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't pack a punch. Sometimes you get
No.
those bitters and whoa, man, they'll freaking hammer you good.
I'm gonna stick with Mick Ultra.
Nice
Diet
and
beer.
light and goes down like water.
Exactly.
Have you ever tasted Mick Ultra before? Nah.
It's diet beer.
brother.
All right, this is an interesting one here. This is made in the Richmond and Fredericksburg area. I picked it up. It's called Strange Ways Brewing, but you're gonna love the name of this beer. It is Wood Booger.
I was gonna say, did that say booger?
Wood Booger's Belgian style brown ale, made by Strange Ways Brewing
Booger's
in
Brown.
Richmond and Fredericksburg. Oh man, look at that dark.
Maybe my
dark
daughter
beer.
will like this one. She likes eating her own boogers.
Ugh.
Oh, we got some chunks coming out of there. Maybe those are boogers.
But
That dark looking.
That is dark.
yeah, this one's 6%
Oh.
alcohol by volume.
That looks like some of the slime from
No,
Ghostbusters right there,
the
man.
smell doesn't give it a good.
Oh,
It
Oh,
smells.
Jesus.
That smells like
Yes.
boogers.
That's
Ugh.
Wood Booger, isn't it?
All right, here we go.
what's floating in yours, CJ?
Oh
Nope.
no, that's not my cup
Nope.
of tea.
That
Just-
is not.
Just the smell kicked me.
I'd
in
rather
the nuts.
eat regular boogers,
That
honestly.
That tastes like Guinness.
Guinness.
It tastes like soy sauce.
I wonder if it could.
Did you say that's a
Yeah,
dark?
looks like
soy sauce.
Hey, that'd be a good cooking beer.
I'm serious. It has like an aftertaste.
Cook
of soy sauce
cook something
right
with
now.
that one time. See
Like
what
some
happens.
chicken, like some.
Chicken,
Sounds
or
like it has some Worcestershire
Worcestershire,
sauce.
monkey blood.
Yeah, I'm not a
too
big
big on
fan
that
of the old Wood Booger.
And where is
No,
it
that
from?
is-
Richmond and
That is a
Fredericksburg.
local beer.
Yeah, it's a fairly
Woodburger.
yeah.
Strange ways.
Is
Is it a dark ale or?
Yeah, it's a
stout?
brown. It's a brown.
Belgian style brown ale?
All right, so this one was interesting. It was called Hell or High Watermelon,
Oh, is that watermelon?
and it's made by a company out in California called 21st Amendment Brewery, and it's a wheat beer, and it's been brewed with
Give 'em
watermelon.
the old pop and sizzle.
Brewed with
It's
watermelon.
called Hell
You're
or
allowed
High
to burp when
Watermelon.
drinking alcohol.
Oh, it's
That's a
definitely
light beer.
Welcome to the
definitely
pub. You can burp all the hell you want.
No boogers in this one,
It's
right?
definitely light. It's a fairly light hitter. It's a 4.9% alcohol. San Leandro, California, comes in a pretty cool container.
It's got the old Statue of Liberty
Statue of
on it.
Liberty, yeah.
She's holding a watermelon.
Watermelon.
It's very light on the nose when you smell it.
That's really good.
You can't.
I
yeah,
like
it
that.
doesn't have a very.
It's got a watermelon smell to it.
I like that.
I don't
That's
smell it.
really
You've
good.
had like 4 drinks.
But
into
if
a
you'll
can
taste
too,
it,
so.
you'll taste it easily.
You'll taste the watermelon right
Trust
away.
me, it's very good. I
Oh,
like
that
it.
definitely does have a watermelon taste.
Yeah,
oh,
it does.
absolutely. That's
good.
That's wonderful.
That's very good.
is that
it's
called?
not like boogers.
Hell or High Watermelon, brewed
It is.
21st Amendment Brewery.
Well, we know that alcohol is not censored because
It is a
alcohol.
seasonal
You have to be 21 to get
release.
it.
So what do you got? Statue
wheat
of Liberty.
beer. Statue of Liberty sitting on the Golden Gate
I was
Bridge,
gonna say, is that Golden
holding
Gate?
a watermelon, and there's a boat full of watermelons in the water.
There's some big ass
It's a
watermelons.
pretty creative.
So
can.
I would have to say
That
that's
is
a good one.
That is wonderful.
And oh man, it looks like our dad just pulled out a thing of freaking that stuff, the wipes that you rub on your wounds. Looks like
Peroxide.
a peroxide bottle.
Yeah, it's a little peroxide bottle. This is Hardywood Brewing's Richmond Lager, made right here in Richmond, Virginia. Has a great look to it.
It's a cool looking bottle.
It's
Very
very classy.
cool bottle. Yeah, very, very interesting, very
Classical.
unique bottle. They're an independent crafter, so when it comes to, love that sound. That's just the best shit on that. Also with a great golden look to it. This is another lager, Richmond Lager.
Lager.
In the grand scheme of things, you know, when you start getting your ABVs up above 6, you know, those beers can pack a punch on you. This one's at 5.0, and once again, made right here in Richmond, Virginia. You're not trying.
That it smells sour.
I like that one. It's not.
It
It's
smells
not.
sour.
It
Yeah,
does.
but it's not bad. I'm not opposed to that at all. It's not too bad actually.
You know, it starts off with a certain kind of a zing to it, and then
It's gone.
it just boom, it goes away. There's no bite in it, right?
No,
There's like no aftertaste to it.
no.
That is extremely light.
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah.
I don't know if I like that.
I'd give that an 8 out of a 10.
that a little. I would give it a 6. I still. I would
Watermelon's
say
my 9.
the watermelon
Did you try
is
that?
absolutely
Yeah,
wonderful.
you like that?
Yeah, I did like
That
that.
is absolutely wonderful. The wood booger. Yeah, the
We
wood
still
booger.
have one more to go though.
Yeah,
Wood
yeah. we got
burger
one
is-
more. Wood booger.
right now.
Woodburger's gonna
I'm
go
say
in the
the wood
trash.
booger is
And then
dead last right
very,
now.
very similar to last show. We had a Star Hill Brewery from last show, but this is called Front Row. This is a golden ale. I found this one. This is made in Charlottesville, Virginia. So
Charlottesville.
it's fairly statewide from Virginia. Yeah, let's see what this pours like. Oh, that's another good pour look to it. This is Star Hill Brewery's Front Row Golden Ale. 4.9%.
That is a very.
Made right here in Virginia.
It's definitely golden. That's for
Charlottesville.
sure. Not really much aroma to it.
It's another. It's a soft hitter, I would say. I don't
Yeah.
see
I'm trying to
anything.
think of what that
There's
smells
no
like.
bite. There's
No.
no.
Instead of like the Richmond Lager, it hits quick and then disappears. Where the Richmond Lager, it doesn't taste much when it hits, but then it kind of eases into it. Where this hits first, and then goes away rather quickly. It's light, But
Yeah, I mean, I like it. It's good. It looks like to me like it would be a great summer beer. Out working in the yard doing a little mowing. You want to take a break, pop into the garage and knock the top off of freaking Star Hill front row Golden Ale, and I think you'll have a nice.
absolutely.
Excuse me, you have a nice
So
nice cold beer.
So out of all of those, I would have to say that one of them deserves to be in the trash and never be seen again. And
Wood booger, get that wood booger shit out of there.
yeah, so
That is
but the rest of
absolutely
them,
atrocious.
especially the Hell on High watermelon one, that one was really good. I do have to admit.
If you are into fruity beers or beers with some citrus,
Yeah, but that's
and
a
little bit-
seasonal thing, you know. I could see that easily. You know, 4th of July barbecue.
Hey,
I'm
that's
telling you
coming
what.
It is coming up.
You got Route 11 chips. Grab yourself a big bag of lightly salted. You can start pounding down them beers. They will go down pretty smooth. Once again, we want to thank all of the manufacturers for the beers and things like that. And while they were easy choices to make, we've had a lot of fun with the last 2 segments being able to drink these various beers. And I would say, with the exception of maybe one, and I don't want to knock this.
I do.
I don't want to knock Strange Brews Brewing.
But if you're
it's
into a heavier beer,
it's a
then
unique beer. It is,
yeah.
and it is. It's definitely a darker, stronger ale or brown ale, and it carries a bigger punch. You know, it's 6% ABV. So I won't knock it. I'm not going to say it's just garbage. I would never drink it, but it's not something I could sit down at a table and
Sure.
pour 4 or 5 of these into mugs. But somebody out there is going to enjoy it, or they wouldn't make it.
Hey, they
You know
got
what I mean?
tasting rooms open daily in Richmond and Fredericksburg.
Yeah, yeah.
So obviously they're
Fredericksburg,
doing
for those
something
people that are in the listening area, there are so many locations in the Fredericksburg area where you could get to and get to different breweries and taste some really good beer. So there you go. That's 6 beers. That's
Yeah.
our segment.
CJ, you don't happen to be pregnant, do you?
No, I'm all good.
Okay, you shouldn't be drinking this if you're pregnant.
Oh well, thank you for the heads up there. I appreciate it.
I'm
Make
really
sure to tell my wife if it happens.
I this Hell
Never
or
drink
High
wood
watermelon,
boogers.
that is fantastic. Like if you're not a big beer drinker, that's something that you would drink if you're not a huge
I'm
beer
surprised.
drinker. That is wonderful.
Is there a watermelon flavored Mike's Hard?
I don't
Yes.
know. I don't know.
There
Yes,
is?
there is.
You mean the lemonades, Mike's Hard
Yeah,
Lemonade,
Mike's
stuff
Hard
like
lemonade,
that?
yeah.
Maybe we ought to test those. Maybe we ought to look into. Should
'Cause
we do a
I'd-
section on ciders?
I'd say that's a close relative of Mike's Hard.
But you can definitely taste that it's made with barley and it's made with some beer ingredients rather than just straight lemonade. And it's super sweet. This isn't super sweet. It's not overwhelming, which is why it's so nice.
So, I want to thank you all for listening. Of course,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is the end of episode 2. Thank you, Coach, for this segment on 6 beers.
You bet.
It was a
You
lot
bet.
of
It
fun.
was. I think we're gonna try. What do you think we ought to do? Some ciders. Try some
Absolutely.
ciders.
Soak it in cider.
Also,
maybe-
try some liquors, maybe smaller
we'll
liquors.
get into
Whoa,
that.
whoa.
We'll get into we'll get into the bourbons. I'm sure we can find ourselves a nice selection
By
of bourbons.
drinking gasoline.
Hey, I'll bring the Virginia Lightning.
So, once again, thank you to Route 11 Chips. Make sure you go try out, as the coach said, their lightly salted bags.
Oh my God!
And
If
some
you-
of the best.
If you've ever had,
I love-
plain chips. Route 11
Route
slightly
11
salted.
chips.
I like
They're
their lightly
ridiculous.
salted, and their barbecue is among the best of barbecues.
Sour
Yeah.
cream and chives is good. Dill pickle. Surprisingly, if you're not a big pickle fan, dill pickle actually it
can't even stand
smacks.
the
It
smell
really
of
does.
pickle.
It sm-
I-
what? It's
it-
delicious.
Yeah, so it's that dill flavoring, and some people love it, and
Never
other
met
people.
dill before.
Not a bit.
But I'm telling you what, lightly salted. Shit, I can sit down and eat a giant bag myself. I can eat the whole bag. It's just so good.
So, from all of us here at Pub Talk, we thank you for listening to episode 2. We're going strong here. And we hope you all have a great rest of your day. As always, guys, peace out.